One of the most enlightening and instructive questions that I've come upon that I use all the time with groups, and you can think about it with yourself, is this one. You have to be very introspective and be very honest. How many of you honestly believe that the vast majority of the workforce in your organizations possess more creativity, more resourcefulness, more initiative, more talent, more intelligence than their present jobs require or even allow them to use? See, my guess is most of you are raising your hands inside your hearts. And when I do it in large groups, it's like 95% of the people raise their hands. Then I just pose the question. Think of that cost, that waste of human potential. And here we talk about empowerment. It becomes eventually a kind of flippant term that stirs up cynicism inside cultures. Because all it basically is a new form of go for delegation, go for this, go for this, go for this. It's not empowerment at all. I think you'll really enjoy this little vignette. It's a kind of a comedy, but it is so true and is so relevant of how the style of a particular manager essentially became the mission statement of this organization, not the words on the wall at all. Think deeply about this and enjoy.
Max, come on over here. Hey, you've been picked out of the pack, boy. You're about to have a new home.
Max!
Sarah? Hi. Gosh, how are you?
Craig! I haven't seen you in ages.
You look different.
So what, you're on your way to work too?
I am. New World Imports, first day.
Wow, New World, that's impressive.
You've heard of them?
Absolutely.
Right.
So what division are you going to be working in?
Customer service.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I asked for it. I figure it's got to be the best way to find out what people out there really want, you know?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I gotta run, but let's have lunch sometime.
Yeah,
Catch up on old times.
I'd like that.
See ya.
Bye.
Meet Max and Max. You wouldn't know it at first glance, but Max and Max have very similar stories. Max was born to purebred parents of the finest stock. The kennel, where he was raised, had an impeccable reputation for preparing puppies to move on to an owner who would then train them to become solid, reliable hunting dogs. Max was born into a hardworking family where there was a strong emphasis on education. Max loved school, did well, and received a scholarship to a noted university, graduating with honors. So here we have Max and Max, both prepared, full of enthusiasm, and ready to make a contribution. Max couldn't wait to meet his new master. He imagined himself on a crisp autumn morning moving slowly through the tall grass. Suddenly, he locks onto the scent of a game bird. The voice of his master rings out in praise. Good boy, Max. What a dog. Likewise, Max could just see himself after several fulfilling months on the job enter his workstation one day to the applause of his fellow workers. There, placed on the keyboard of his computer, is a plaque recognizing him as Customer Service Rep of the Year. Such were the dreams of Max and Max, dreams of service and meaningful contribution. Enter into our story Mr. Harold. Mr. Harold is the manager of the customer service department at New World Imports. He's also the new owner of a hunting dog. When Mr. Harold picked up Max, it was a happy occasion.
these really great ideas, then put them to work in your own department.
Okay.
Likewise, when Max arrived at New World on his first day, Mr. Harold greeted him in an atmosphere of great warmth and welcoming. Mr. Harold talked to Max about his new home, about hunting, and about, well, life in general. Max listened. In his office, Mr. Harold told Max about the company's goal to put the customer first. Service. Service. Service, he said, as he showed him a nice custom version of the department mission statement hanging on his wall. And Max listened. Time went by.
You ready to work on our basic skills this morning, boy?
Max learned quickly. Sit. Stay. Lie down. Front. All these were performed without hesitation.
More than anything else, I want you to learn to stay on the lawn. Got that? I didn't buy you to go running and jumping in the water any old time you want. That's for me to decide.
Then why did you buy me? He thought. Meanwhile, Max became intimately familiar with the higher meaning of practices and procedures.
And they request something that falls outside of the guidelines. What do you say?
I say I'm sorry, ma'am, or sir, but company policy doesn't allow me to do that. What is that referring to in this case, sir?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't?
Absolutely
Then
not.
why did you hire me, he thought. And time went by.
I told you not to leave the lawn. Now, what are you doing down here? Now, you get right back up on that lawn before I take a newspaper to you. Go on, you get. Get up on that lawn.
Max was stunned. All he had on his mind was helping Mr. Harold. He had all this breeding, all this built-in know-how to put to use. The hat falling in the water was the perfect opportunity to be of service. So why is he so upset? He wondered.
Max! Front.
Yes, sir?
Sit.
Sit?
Have a seat.
Of course, sir. Thank you, sir.
Tell me about DeWalt Travel Associates.
Oh, yes. Ann DeWald herself called me to tell me that she hadn't received the luggage shipment. This was the second time, and she was headed to Europe for the big travel show. Couldn't wait for regular shipping, so I overnighted it to her.
I know all that part. What I want to know is why did you do it?
Why?
Yes, why?
Because when she called, shipping was on a shift change.
So?
So I couldn't get anyone to answer.
So?
So after I finished here, I went down to shipping myself, found the right line, and arranged for the overnight shipper to pick it up.
You're missing the point of my question. I don't care about all the hoops you jump through. I just want to know why did you do that?
Service, 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 sir.
Don't quote company policy to me, young man. There's a larger issue here.
I agree. In fact, I wanted to know if I could make a few departures from company guidelines, maybe for a 30-day period or so, track the results and see if the callback and referral margins go up.
And maybe we could set you up on your own floor. Hire support staff, create a new line item in the corporate budget. Get your own job figured out first, Max. Then you can start worrying about mine, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Harold wasn't really a bad man, you see. In fact, he was really quite average. He just had a certain way of looking at his job, and he wanted those who worked for him, all those who worked for him, to look at their jobs in just the same way.
Go get it, boy.
Discipline, boy. Discipline.
And so,
Most important
as time went
quality
by,
of great hunting
Max
dog.
learned exactly
You gotta
what
learn it.
Mr. Harold wanted,
Even if it's
and
the
he did
hard
it.
way.
Likewise, Max put his all into following what seemed to be the real New World guidelines of customer service. And as time went by, he came to know exactly what Mr. Harold wanted,
You bought
and
the
he
voltage
gave it
adapters
to
to
him.
allow your research team to use their laptops when they're out of the country. Is that right? But you have to understand, it is our policy not to refund or replace after 30 days. I'd be happy to refer you to our customer service supervisor. What will he tell you? I suspect he'll tell you the very same thing, sir. Very well then, sir. We thank you and we appreciate your business. Not that we'll ever get any more.
What was that?
I'm sure we'll see more and more.
The days passed by. Things were going smoothly, just like Mr. Harold liked them to go. But then, one day,
It's your big day, boy. You're going out in the fields. You're going to learn from the pros. So, you're going to get a chance to finally show what you can do. Oh, it's a challenge, I admit. But like we always say around here, challenge is just an opportunity we didn't ask for. So I want you to go out there and remember everything you've learned. Everything I've taught you. There are old customers out there we haven't heard from in a long time. Old friends. And you're going to go out and retrieve them for me. You're finally going to get to do what you've been trained to do. So, get out the elbow grease, strap yourself in, and go get it.
the oration was meant to be motivating, no question, even inspiring. The best of intentions were attached to every word.
Howdy, boys. How y'all today? I'll go get my gun and I'll be right out, okay? Max, come on, get in the truck.
Max was truly excited to go out to the fields and flush out game, but he wouldn't leave the lawn. And Max learned quickly that no matter how sincerely he restated company policy to lost customers, they still had the same problems. Mr. Harold's lofty goals were not being achieved. Mr. Harold was perplexed.
Get in that truck.
At first he tried encouragement.
Look, boy, I don't know what the problem is, but see, you need to look at this like it's an adventure.
That more than anything else is fun, because with each old customer you talk to on that phone comes an opportunity to make a new friend.
Yeah, but they all hate me. Oh, I remember you. No, you're the one who said no.
I understand, I do, but see those guys? They want to go. They're ready to go. And see their dogs? Their dogs are ready to go. You don't see those dogs lying around with their chins on the ground, do you? The question I'm starting to ask myself now is, why am I paying you the kind of money I'm paying you when this is what I get in return, huh? Can you answer me that? You are supposed to be the best that money can buy. And look at you. I give you your big chance, your big opportunity to show what you can do, and this is what you do with it? Come on. There's all that brains and education and ambition you walked in here with a few months ago.
So here we have Max, wondering why Mr. Harold was so angry with him when he finally learned to stay on the grass, no matter what. And Max wondering why, when he was doing his level best to implement the connection between company policy and customer service, was Mr. Harold so thoroughly disgusted with his work. Time went by. And one day, Mr. Harold's boss decided that what was lacking in his assignment to bring back old customers was teamwork.
Hope you all
So
enjoyed
he
the party.
suggested to Mr. Harold that he throw a little party for all the customer service reps. Why don't you do it in your own backyard, he said. It'll give it that personal touch. And so he did.
Max, you haven't tried my famous ribs yet.
Well,
They'll melt in your mouth. Best thing you ever ate. My hunting dog, and I use the term loosely, loves them.
so, if the dog likes them, well, then I should like them. Makes sense. Thank you, sir.
Yes, well, I hope you're enjoying the party. Hey, everybody, come on down here and let me show you what I've been working on all summer.
The party was a real success. Mr. Harold was particularly pleased. I just needed to get these people to like me, he thought. Now, when I chew on them, they'll know it's nothing personal.
Yeah. Dandy, huh? Yep. Can't have a boat without a hat. All right? How you like this? Took me 3 months. Sit here at your tiller. You all go on to the party. Just go on to the party. I'll go change. Yeah, I'm fine. You know, just go on. I'll go change, and I'll be all right.
You must know something about that hat that I don't.
There was an interesting connection felt by Max and Max on that summer day, though neither of them really knew what it was. But nonetheless, fate was having her way on that day, proving that not all of the best ironies in life are reserved for stories in storybooks, as we might suppose. And time went by.
I hope you enjoyed that. My guess is you identified with it. I know I did. Here's this young man. He's so enthusiastic when he starts out. So turned on by this mission statement. So anxious to do whatever it takes to serve customers and to learn the business from that angle. And then this dog. Look at what happened to the dog. I mean, he started out so enthusiastic, wanting his full instincts to be unleashed. Did you see that dog start to train Max? Train Max, the young man, not to go get the hat. And within a short period of time, the spirit of both Max and Max was gone. Isn't that interesting how that happens? It's like a culture of disempowerment. Everything contributes to an essentially robbing people of their creative energy, of their power to make choices, to exercise options, to use their ingenuity, their creativity. For instance, here the dog really wants to help get that hat. He's punished for it. Here Max goes out of his way to serve the customer, and you see the delight in his eyes, you know, I hope you'll affirm me and appreciate what I've done for this customer. And then he's slapped around. In fact, he slapped around so much, eventually, you can just sense that he gets tighter and tighter and loses more and more of his spirit. Mr. Harold senses it. So he comes in with Band-Aid solutions, with aspirin solutions, that doesn't reflect an understanding of what's happened to create this kind of culture. But he comes in thinking, well, what you need is more rah-rah, more psych-up. Let's get you excited again, like you were once. I mean, look at the money we're paying you. Look what we've done for you. And this is the attitude that you have, that you take, see? And he also senses the whole demoralization has spread to the department, so he has a party. Let's jazz up our department to create more teamwork. You see, these are just simplistic solutions. It's like the program of the month. What happens is that it fatigues the culture, and it creates cynicism. People don't believe it anymore. You have to work in a far more fundamental way. You first have to understand the concept of empowerment. We don't empower others. We create the conditions that release their human potential, that enable them to exercise their own unique gifts and endowments, to accomplish some worthy purpose, to go after some goal, within the guidelines, not rules of practices, but principles, guidelines, which essentially give parameters, but within that, you do whatever it takes, consistent with those correct principles to accomplish those desired results. And then to set up structures and systems that reinforce this kind of culture, that facilitate people being empowered, that help them instead of straitjacket them and cut them off when they make the first mistake, causing them to always look over their shoulder, wondering who's going to step in on my life now. This culture of empowerment can be brought about by Mr. Harold. It really can. But he'd have to go to work in some fundamental ways in his own area. You probably noticed how he learned his style, probably in part from his boss's style. Remember in that opening scene when his boss was going out saying, "You get your own department in order before you work on mine." The very words he used with Max. The problem is, though, that you get into what's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. The less empowerment you create for other people, the less initiative they exercise. The less they exercise, the more evidence you have why you must control them. Then the other person feels their spirit is broken. They exercise less initiative until the initiative muscles atrophy. They're gone. And then you have this institutionalized dependency. It is so common in organizations, really. This thing can be broken, but it takes the proactive muscle and initiative of any one person. So think about what you might do if you were an enlightened Mr. Harold and going into the situation with an awareness of what you have done, what you have contributed to. He'd have to, in some way, create more freedom, more structures and systems that would encourage the release of human potential. How would you bring about a change to create the conditions of empowerment?